Hey, it's Jonathan McGinley, a Maxwell certified coach, speaker, and trainer, and the founder of Intentional Man, a company that exists to give Christian men the tools, the community, and the coaching to pursue God sized goals, live intentionally, and build lives of significance. Let me ask you a question. Do you have a plan for your personal growth? Do you have a plan in place to grow in the key areas of your life, in key skills, in key relationships? Or right now, is your growth just left up to random chance? And if you ask people this question, the majority of people, they're not going to have a plan for personal growth. So if your answer is no right now, there's no reason to feel bad about it, but it's definitely something that's worth figuring out as soon as possible. There's nothing that's made a bigger difference on my life than my commitment to personal growth. I used to be one of those people who never read books, right? Never listened to podcasts, never really cared about the whole personal development scene. It took a serious trial in my life to kind of kick my butt into gear and to force me to start working on myself, to actually start growing, to get intentional about growing. And since then, I can confidently say that my commitment to personal growth has been one of the best decisions of my life. And there's a quote that I recently came across. I saw it a few years ago and just found it again. It's from James Allen in his book, As a Man Thinketh. He says, people are anxious to improve their circumstances, but they're unwilling to improve themselves. That is why they remain bound. People are anxious to improve their circumstances, but unwilling to improve themselves. If I asked you to look out 5 years from now, would you think that your circumstances would be better or worse than they are now? Would your income be up or would it be down? Would your relationships be better or would they be worse? Would you be closer to your dreams or would you be further away? If I asked you those questions, most likely your answers were pretty optimistic, I would assume. Typically, people assume that their circumstances are going to be better in the future. But what is that actually based on? Is that just based on a wish or is that based on an actual plan? Is that just a hope? Or is that because you know what you're going to do to actually make that happen in the future? There's a gap right now for all of us between where you are and where you want to go. And I believe that the best bridge to that gap is personal growth. John Maxwell has a famous quote where he says, the only way to ensure that tomorrow is better than today is to grow. The only way to ensure tomorrow is better than today is to grow. To believe that your circumstances are just going to magically get better in the future without actually investing any time in developing yourself, your character, and your skills, I think is wishful thinking. So, in order to grow, you have to get intentional about it. As kids, your growth track was already set up for you, right? You went through school with the curriculum that helped you grow and it helped you develop key skills, it helped you develop knowledge. You didn't actually have to think about anything that you needed to learn. The teachers took care of that for you, right? The curriculum was already set up for you. If you were in sports, you most likely had coaches along the way that kind of set up your training programs, taught you the necessary skills, put you through the right drills in order to grow in your skills. And so, but once you graduate, once you're done with sports, once you graduate school, it's fully up to you to take ownership of your personal growth. But unfortunately, that isn't something that you're taught to do. It's not something that's talked about very often. So it is crucial that you start investing in your own personal growth if you want to get to where you want to go. If you want to chase down those big dreams, you're going to have to grow. If you want to be a better husband, you're going to have to grow. If you're single right now and you want to find a great girl and be fully prepared for marriage, you're going to need to grow. The bridge between where you are and where you want to go is personal growth. You cannot just assume that you're going to automatically grow. You must get intentional about it. Brendan Burchard, he says, if you leave your growth to randomness, you will always live in the land of mediocrity. If you leave it to randomness, you're always going to live in the land of mediocrity. And I know if you're listening to this right now, you don't want to be in that land. You don't want to be average. You want to pursue your full potential and reach your God-given dreams and your goals. And so if you're not investing in your personal growth, now is the time to start. And I promise it's going to be one of the best decisions that you will ever make. And if you are already investing in your personal growth, you're on the right track. You're doing it. But now is the time to get even more intentional and more focused with that growth and with that time to make sure that you're growing in the right areas. So today I want to give you 4 simple steps to create your own growth curriculum. So, to create your own curriculum to make sure you're growing in the right way and you're giving yourself the best path to getting to where you want to go. So, you ready to jump in? Let's jump in. Let's go. Step 1 here. You got to identify character traits that you need to develop, and you need to identify fears that you need to overcome. So, character traits and fears. Oftentimes, it's not just a lack of competence that's holding you back. More often than not, it's a lack of confidence that's primarily holding you back, or it's a fear of something that's holding you back, or it's a poor attitude or a poor mindset that is really keeping you from reaching those dreams. You can develop your skills all that you want, but if you're letting the fear of failure drive your life, you're not going to put those skills to use. We all know those people who are extremely talented, but they just don't seem to be living up to their potential, right? You can probably picture somebody in your life. You're like, this guy, it just seems to be good at whatever he does, but there's something that's holding him back. And typically that's some sort of fear or limiting belief that's holding them back from actually using all that talent to their full potential. So you must attack these fears and these insecurities head on if you want to reach your full potential, if you want to reach your dreams. I've seen stats that say about 90 to 95% of people never actually live out their dreams, which is super sad to me. 90 to 95% of people are dying with their dreams still inside of them. And I know for a fact that that's not just because of a lack of skill. It's usually there's some sort of fear holding them back from actually doing it. They aren't willing to take risks. They're not willing to bet on themselves. They're too scared of what other people are think, or they're afraid to step out and fail. So you need to ask yourself right now, what are the main things holding you back from reaching your dreams? Ask yourself that question. What are the main things holding me back from reaching my dreams? What are the main things holding me back from doing what I actually want to do? So you need to identify those key things and then make the commitment to grow in them. The 9th law in John Maxwell's 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth says character growth determines the height of your personal growth. You have to start with growing in your character. You have to start growing and overcoming some of those fears and those limiting beliefs. So you have to develop your mindset. You got to develop better habits of self-talk. You have to grow in your integrity. You have to grow in your ability to stick to your commitments. Those areas are going to determine the height of your personal growth. So, step 1, you got to identify those things, those character traits you need to grow in, and identify the key fears or limiting beliefs that are holding you back. Okay, step 2, after you've started there, then you got to identify the key skills that you're going to need in the future. You need to get really good at the key skills that are required in the field that you're interested in. So, let's say you want to become a professional golfer. So, if that was your goal, you know that you need to get out there and practice golf. You would need to develop the long game, work on your driving, you need to work on your short game, your chipping and putting. You need to get out there and actually practice. It wouldn't make sense to go practice basketball every day and assume that you're going to get better at golf, right? That makes no sense. We get that. But oftentimes, that's how we approach personal development. We just read random books. We listen to random podcasts. We go through random trainings. We talk to our mentors about random different things. If you're doing that, yes, you're growing. It's great. You are growing, but you might not be growing in the key skills that are required. So this is what took my personal development to the next level. You got to look to the future and identify the key skills needed to succeed in your field of interest, and then become laser focused on developing those skills. So if you're starting your own business, you know you're going to need to be good at marketing. You may be really good at the actual service you provide, but if you're not good at marketing or if you're not good at sales, you're not going to get people in the door. So you got to say, okay, marketing is something I need to get good at. I need to start finding courses that help me develop my marketing skills. If you're wanting to be a public speaker, you got to get really, really good at speaking, right? So you need to take courses. You need to hire a coach. You need to read books on speaking. You need to listen to podcasts on speaking. It seems simple, but that's not often how we approach things. So in my world, I need to get really good at coaching, speaking, and marketing. So those are the 3 areas that I need to be really laser focused on developing if I want to take this to the next level. And this is what's going to separate you from others. You need to determine the few key skills that you need to be great at, and you need to get laser focused on developing them. So instead of being somebody who's just decent or average at a lot of things, be somebody who is world-class in a few. So that's step 2. Okay, so once you got that, you got your key skills, you got the character traits you need to develop, the fears you need to overcome. Then you just need to do some research on resources that will help you grow, right? Again, seems obvious, but a step we miss a lot of times. So you need to spend some time researching the books, the courses, the mentorship programs, coaches, podcasts that will help you develop those key skills that you've identified. So make a list of the books that you want to read that are targeted specifically toward that skill, towards the thing that are going to help you achieve your goals. Go out and see what kind of training programs are out there that can help you develop that specific skill that you need. Look up coaches, talk to coaches that can help you overcome those limiting beliefs. So don't leave your growth to randomness. Find the resources that are going to help you become world class. Find the resources that are going to help you grow in the key areas that you need to grow in. So this step shouldn't take you super long, but it will make all the difference. Take some time to actually research what's out there and then make a plan in terms of what you're going to start with and what you're going to move to next. So that would be step 3. Then the last step in developing your own growth curriculum is to actually schedule personal growth on your calendar. You have to actually schedule it. What is scheduled oftentimes gets done. What's not on the schedule oftentimes falls through the cracks, right? So choose the book that you want to read or the course that you want to take, and then schedule in consistent time in your week to devote to personal growth. So I would highly suggest blocking out time every single day to devote to personal growth. And you may say, man, I don't have time for anything as it is. You don't have time to not do this. If you truly want to get to where you want to go, personal growth is one of the best things that you can invest in. So you have to carve out time. We always find time for the things that we say are important. So if this is truly important to you, you got to find time. Even if it's just 15 minutes a day, you need to devote that consistent time. So start small. It's okay if it's just 15 minutes. Start small, get in the habit of doing it. And then you can build and you can add on from there if you need to. You're going to be amazed at how many books you can read, how many podcasts you can listen to, how many courses you can get through if you just devote some time each day to doing it. So one easy place to do this, take a look at your screen time. Instead of spending an hour a day on social media or the news or sports, put that hour towards your personal growth, or cut it in half. Spend 30 minutes on social media and 30 minutes on personal growth instead. Like I said, if you're serious about pursuing your dreams, if you're serious about reaching your goals and growing into your full potential, you got to make the commitment to personal growth. So put it on your calendar and stick to it. I know if you do it consistently and if you do it with intensity and focus on the areas that you need to grow in, you're going to have a leg up on the majority of people. So remember, potential is God's gift to you. What you do with it is your gift back to God. And one of the best ways to store those gifts and to store the time He's given you is to continuously grow and develop into the best man that you can be. So, to recap those 4 steps today, identify the character traits you need to develop and the fears you need to overcome. Start there because character growth determines the height of your personal growth. After you've done that, step 2 would be identify the most important skills you need to develop to be successful in your field of interest. And then after that, research the resources that can help you grow in those areas and choose the ones you want to go with. And then after that, put personal growth time on your schedule and stick to it consistently. The only way to ensure tomorrow is better than today is to grow. So you got this. I believe in you. You got this. I'm excited for you to jump in and experience the life-changing power of developing yourself and devoting yourself to personal growth. So don't leave your growth to randomness. Get highly intentional about it. Get after it. So if this was helpful, please share this with somebody else that you might think would benefit from it. And thank you for joining today. Go live a life you're proud of by living intentionally.